Wow. A round of applause for another episode of the After School Special Club.
We did it. We love you. You're beautiful.
Woo!
Keep saying
Oh my God,
things.
you're so hot. Take off your shirt.
I'm like, oh, no.
No.
I draw a line there. I draw a line. A boundary. I'll take off my pants though.
But I will take off my shoes.
Ooh, I'm going indoors.
Ooh. I just got home from work. Got to take my shoes off.
Ooh, greasy.
Ugh. Well, it is episode 58. And you know what? That's just great.
Wow. Another round of applause. That was beautiful. Never heard it before.
No, never been done before.
Oh, 58. We're old.
I know. Well, we're getting close to
age.
60.
Yeah. Retirement age over here.
Which I think Mary and I decided that we're going to do every 10th episode in person. Keep it special. So when we hit 60, hopefully we're able to meet in person to do it.
Yes. I'm looking forward to that. It'd be like a bash.
Right?
Let's bash each other.
We should get party hats.
We should. Like little baby tiny ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wink. Well, yeah, this is, like I said, the 58th episode of the After School Special Club. And I am Chris.
I'm Mary.
And this is your show for video game news, commentary, and stories from our stupid little lives. Welcome back.
Tiny, important lives.
We're so important. And you're so important. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Yes. And the topics we're talking about are so important that it's going to blow your mind. It's
going
to blow your little mind.
I love that every time we record, my lighting is different. So it's like today it's like spooky / like somber.
It's good because it's the first episode we've shot in October.
That's very true.
So it's very fitting.
That's very true.
Fitting.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. My webcam is finicky, so. Oh, there we go.
There we go. There's
but
some light.
I have the blinds. I have natural light to fill me out, so.
That's the best kind of light, a photographer would say.
Yeah, that's true. And I am not a photographer, but I've tried to be.
I'm a photographer's son. I'm trying to fulfill the prophecy in photographing landscapes.
It's kind of true. My mom, she's not a professional photographer, but she's really good. Like, she's been a hobbyist, like, for the longest time. So my mom is actually a really good photographer. Just saying.
That's good.
She doesn't listen to the podcast, but...
But we love your photos. But anyway, how's your week been?
It's been pretty good. I haven't done anything super special. I've just been trying to, like, get outside more. I took a really nice walk yesterday because I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to walk in like a different direction today than I normally do. And like, I was looking at the map and I was like, what's over here? And there was like a park. And I was like, oh, I'm going to walk to the park. And I got to the park and I was like, how do I get into the park? Because it was like, I arrived and I could see the park, but it was like, it was weird. Like I was on street level and the park was like down, but it was fenced off. So I was like, I'm standing like above the park that I saw on this map, but it is fenced off and I don't see a gate or a pathway or anything. And I'm just like...
It's the accessible park for everyone.
Right.
It's meant for everyone, but nobody can get in.
It's meant for everybody and nobody. So I quickly ditched that and was just like, you know what, I'm just going to keep on walking. And had a really nice walk. Like the weather's been gorgeous recently. So I've just been trying to get out for like 30 minutes to an hour every day and like pick up the habit of walking again, because I used to walk a lot, you know, and I lived in San Francisco because it's a very walkable city. I would walk everywhere all the time, every day.
Yeah, I remember.
And now it's a little trickier because things are a little more spread apart. And like I live in a pretty residential part of the East Bay. So like I can walk around like the neighborhood, but it's like I can't really get places by walking as easily.
Like the destination isn't there.
Right.
It's like you're walking just to fill.
Right.
Like it's filler walking.
Pretty much. And that's kind of what I've been doing. I've been like exploring the neighborhood and walking around and like there's stuff. Like I'm not saying that there's nothing here, but like it's definitely different than being in SF. So I've been trying to reincorporate that into my schedule because it also kind of fell off, obviously, once I had my injury. And I had gotten back into walking as a means of healing. And then I moved and haven't really had a schedule around that recently. So I've been trying to do that and just like, you know, get outside more, feel some air on my face, you know?
Yeah, it's such a refresher. And you feel like if you don't do it often enough and then you get out, at first you're like, you know, nature. But it really hits you with like a wave of dopamine, I feel like.
Yeah,
I
totally.
feel like this feels great.
But other than that, I haven't really been doing too much. It's been
Hmm.
pretty chill otherwise. I like worked really early today for the first time in a long time. I woke up at like 4 and I was like, "Oh my god,
Mm.
I don't miss doing this." But I do actually feel more rested, weirdly enough, because I think I wake up at a weird time when I work my normal like 8 a.m. shifts, and so I don't actually get the right amount of sleep, and I end up being more tired because like I feel pretty energized. So at least that's a positive.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be energized to run the farm at that
Yeah,
early.
right. Got to wrangle the animals.
Yeah. Oh, that's early. Yeah, I mean, I wake up every day at like 3:30, three
Yeah,
forty now. And on bad days, I wake up 4 a.m. is like a bad day where I'm like getting up, wearing clothes from 2 nights ago. My bra is twisted. And I'm like, let's go.
right. Let's go to
The
work.
day
We're
has started.
ready.
Day has started. Yeah.
But yeah, that's been pretty much it. How's your week been?
It's been good. This past weekend was actually really fun because I
Mm-hmm.
had a movie night with my friends and we
Nice.
collectively saw The Mummy, like
Oh
the
yeah, how was
1999
that?
like classic. Oh, it was so good.
The
I saw
OG.
it at the Alamo Draft House. Yeah. But that was we all saw it together that night, and then my friend, our mutual friend,
Mm-hmm.
hosted a movie night where he played the sequel. So we watched the
Oh,
sequel together.
nice.
And I was like, God, this movie is so much worse than the first one
Ouch! I'm in
because
pain.
they're they're like, let's add more. This is Mummy 2, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Let's add more mummies. One wasn't good enough. Let's add more explosions, more bullets, more tropes, like everything. Let's add an annoying kid because
Mm-hmm.
everyone loves
Because
that.
we need an annoying kid.
Yeah, it's like they got together like all the money because they made so much money off the first one and they weren't expecting it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, let's just roll with it. Like, let's make the action most actiony of action movies. However, still love it. I mean, The Mummy
It's a
1 and
classic,
2, yeah, some of my favorite movies ever made. Plus, has Brendan Fraser in it. The
right?
Renaissance continues.
Oh my
Yeah,
god,
so that was fun.
I
Went to
love
go
him.
get some food. Yeah. Oh, he's so lovable. Um, and we got back and we noticed that the door was open,
Oh god,
like the apartment, and
to your
they had a
apartment or
cat.
their apartment?
Their apartment,
Oh
because we
god.
went out to go get food, and this was in the Mission,
Oh god.
and it was late at night. It was like not late at night, but it was like 6 or 7,
Right.
and it's Saturday night. People were out, people were walking the streets,
Right.
and yeah, it was really scary.
Oh.
We got back, and it was all like a collective like gasp, like,
Oh
and then like I had
god,
to
I'm like
check the
getting chills
house.
thinking about that.
Yeah, seriously. And the cat was fine.
Oh
Everything
good.
was fine. Nothing was taken. It was all good. People were very polite that night. They were like, tonight,
You know
no,
what? Somebody
we're
like
not
broke
gonna.
in and then they were like, you know what?
You know,
Not tonight.
not tonight. I'm not gonna give in my animalistic thieving.
But I am gonna leave the
Like,
door open just to
but I
give
am
them
gonna leave it
spook.
open for them. Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
they
I'm gonna
forgot their
leave the door
keys.
open for them to welcome them home back into their house.
Yeah. And like writing like on the front of the door, being like, "We took nothing," like in blood.
We
We
took
took nothing.
nothing. Welcome
Everything's
home.
safe. Welcome home.
It's like a flower.
I'm like, they're so nice. But yeah, so thank God everything was cool. That was nice. And then the following day, I went to Hardly Strictly.
Oh,
So it's
nice.
like, yeah, the free festival, Bluegrass Festival in
Mhm.
San Francisco every year. It's back. I think this is the first year it was back.
Yeah, I
Pretty
totally
sure.
forgot it was happening this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, these shows come up on me like all of a sudden,
Yeah.
and then I notice it's busier at the place where I work, and I'm like, why is it so busy?
What the
Oh,
fuck?
yeah, there's a show this weekend. And then it's so funny because like while I was working, I was like, oh, all these people go to the concert, all
And then
humbug,
you're like, and then it cuts to you just like on your way to the concert.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, I love free concerts. Like a picnic basket. I'm like, let's have
You're
fun.
frolicking.
Yeah. I'm like, I wish there were more of these. But yeah, it was super fun getting back there. I loved people watching. That's my favorite thing to do
Hmm.
in those kind of outdoor settings because it was outdoors. A lot of people showed up,
Right.
and a lot of dogs showed up. Thank
Oh, God
God.
bless.
Yeah, I was every second I was turning because I was too far away to see the stage or anybody on it. I was
Right.
like turning left and right, seeing dogs, and I was like, that dog over there, that's my dream dog. And I was like, hold up, wait, no,
Wait.
that's my dream dog.
No, wait, I want that dog.
There's
Oh my
some,
God, but there's this dog.
but there's this, and every time it like passed me because it was very close parameters, like
Mhm.
dogs would like pass my legs. I'd be like, but I would never pet. I never pet
Nope.
people's dogs. I don't know.
Me neither. It feels invasive.
Yeah, it feels like it feels like because you know I think of animals, or dogs especially, as a part of your family. Like, it is a part of
Right.
your
Like,
family.
I wouldn't come up
So
and
it's
pet
like
your kid.
exactly. Like like exactly. Like I want to be like, I'd get
Tased.
a lot of trouble. Yeah. So that's, that's off limits to me, but that was fun. And then I've been doing this thing at the gym lately that's been really nice the past week or two. And I didn't know it was viral. I didn't know it was like a viral thing that I was doing, but my
Uh-oh, are
friend
you an
told me about it.
influencer now?
Yeah, I guess so.
You're like,
I
actually,
guess so.
yes, here's my TikTok.
I have one follower and it's me.
And it's
My
myself.
other
My
account.
other
It's
account.
myself. Yeah. I'm like, wow. I love keeping up with Mary. But it's called the 12-3-30.
Whoa.
I had no idea that's what it was called. So the incline you set on the treadmill, because I'm starting to get familiar with the treadmill again. Starting to love it again.
Good old treadmill.
Set the incline to 12, all like basically max.
Right.
So it's like so it's San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
And then you do 3 miles per hour. So not too heavy, not too fast, just like a walk.
Mm-hmm.
Do it for 30 minutes. That workout is insane. You like drench in sweat.
Oh, yeah,
and
sure.
It's really nice that you don't have to run because my knees are really bad. So it's a way around that. Mm-hmm. And then immediately afterwards, they have a row machine there, which is really nice. So you hit the rows, you hit the free weights.
Yep.
I basically get the whole like little studio to myself.
Oh, that's nice.
It has like mirrors everywhere and like wooden floors, and they have TRX machines and yoga mats and anything you can think of to use. And no one's there at Monday at like 8 a.m. because everyone's, at work.
Right, everyone's going to work.
So, yeah. So that's really nice. I've been trying to keep up with that, trying to get more routine with the gym.
Yeah.
Because I want to go every day, honestly. I would like that. But I know that's not either healthy and or realistic right now.
Right.
So at least twice a week, I'm trying to aim for that. And then maybe build myself up to 3 days, But it's been a lot of fun. I love working out. I think it's great, like being in room with other people working out because you feel motivated. Like you're there for a reason. It's a lot harder working out at home because like you just look to your left and you see your cat just like laying in the sun. You're like, I think I'm going to pet that.
And then you look to your right and your PS5 is there.
I'm like, I guess I don't have to work out today. Yeah, nobody's here telling me I should or shouldn't. But that's been my week.
That's nice. I do want to get back into working out too because I actually miss it, and I was thinking of trying to establish a home routine because I don't really want to pay for a gym membership, and like I can work out at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
because you have a backyard too, so that's really nice.
Right, like I have plenty of space, and so I feel like it'd be a nice way to just like come home and like before I even do anything, just like work out. So it's like I'm still in work mode, and so it's like I just come home, like maybe like eat a snack or like whatever, and then work out for an hour and then like start unwinding for my day. Because that's what I used to do. Back when I did used to go to the gym, I would just go straight from work so that there was no time for me to be like relaxing and doing anything but working out. So I feel like I want to do that again, and like I need to figure out how to establish like a workout routine for. I think I mostly want to work on like my core and my arms.
Okay, like
maybe my butt.
Maybe just I want to work on my face.
I want to work on my face. I'm just like on camera like.
Yeah.
For anyone watching or not watching, you just missed me working out my face. I'm sorry.
It's called face aerobics.
You just go ooh ah ooh ah ooh ah ooh ah ooh ah
until your face gives out. You fall asleep.
I just have an ice pack on my face the next time we record.
You're like, oh, I hit that gym real hard.
So
with the
hard.
Face aerobics class. I'm like, what?
You're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It's a face aerobics class.
I also would love to start swimming again. I know, like, obviously I would have to pay for a gym membership for that, but because my friend, our mutual friend, like, she just moved and they have pools at their apartment complex. And when we were having that heat wave, we went pool hopping and we went in 3 different pools. They have 4 pools. And it felt so good to be like in water. And I was like, man, I really miss swimming. And like, I would definitely get in a pool and like swim again. I was always really good at breaststroke. So, and that's like full body workout. Like,
oh yeah, you get slim.
Yeah.
Swimming.
Because
me not knowing how to swim. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I always
You're
forget that you
breathing.
don't know how to swim or ride a bike.
No, and the thing is, thanks.
Yeah, thank you
Thanks,
for blowing up
thanks
my
for adding that
spotlight.
on. It's like
Yeah,
add that
I didn't
on.
have to add that on, but I did.
Just tacked it on. Like, guess what? Mary does not ride a bike either. Yeah, and I set up a class at my local
Oh,
swim
yeah.
place,
What's the
and then
swimming hole?
they emailed me and they're like, "Sorry, we're closed that day. It's like President. There's like a holiday. I scheduled it. I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Uh-oh.
and then like they never told me how to like reschedule my
They just
price.
left you hanging.
So I spent like $50 on like this swim lesson, and like
Never
I
had it.
called back and I was like, "Hey, I'm supposed to have a swim lesson with I forget his name. It was
Whoever.
like very Swedish sounding." And I was like,
Jorgen.
"Yeah, yeah, yeah." It was something like that, like Jorgen. And I was like, "Yeah, I have a class with Jorgen, and I'm not sure how I'm supposed to reschedule this." And they were like, "Well, do you have the email?" And I was like, "No, I went on a crazy delete my email mode, and I deleted everything because I had like 400 emails. I couldn't stand looking at the number. So no, I don't have the email." She's like, "Well," and I was like, "Well."
Well, that's crazy to me that like they didn't
And
have
they're
any
like,
record on their side.
"Many."
Like you couldn't like give them an ID or something.
Yeah, no, I said my name. I said my email address. I was like, "These are things." You know, I signed up
Wow.
online. Nothing. So I was like, "It's a omen. It's a
You weren't
don't
meant to
swim."
swim.
Yeah. They're like, "No, you be the quirky girl that doesn't know how to swim."
That can't swim.
Yeah, that not like other girls.
I'm not like other girls. I'll drown.
Yeah, I won't float. I'll just drown. But yeah, that's been it.
Well, I say that all
Do
sounds
you?
great, but we should talk about video games. That's what we're here for.
I guess if we need
I
to.
guess so. So we have a couple topics for today. I'm going to go first because apparently Mary's topics are very heavy.
And wait, yeah, I have to lug
And
it
wait,
around.
yeah, she actually she doesn't have the internet. She has them printed out, so
Yeah,
they're heavy in weight.
don't judge.
So I feel like this was another week where there were like a couple like big things happening, but I feel like the biggest one that happened was Google shutting down Stadia.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, I guess. So
As someone who didn't like, I know this news is like big and like it affects a people, like people that there's a group of
the
people that
subhuman
have,
gamers.
yeah, that have Stadias and they're like on it, and I feel like I was out of the loop and like I knew it existed, I knew Stadia existed, I knew games were for it, but I never really got into it or like knew much about it. And now that it's like shutting down, everyone's like, there's a shuffleage.
Yeah, there's a kerfuffle happening. Yeah, it's interesting. I never like really batted an eye at Stadia. Never really cared that much about it. Like the whole like streaming games thing is still like something I'm not super keen on. Although I will say with my PlayStation subscription, I have been like streaming older games and it works fine because I have a good internet connection. But like other than that, I'm just like I don't really care.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a big thing. And so I have the article. This is from gamesindustry.biz. So it reads, Google is calling it quits on Stadia, as announced in a post on the company blog today by Stadia VP and General Manager Phil Harrison. So he's quoted saying, while Stadia's approach to streaming games for consumers was built on a strong technology foundation, it hasn't gained the traction with users that we expected. So we made the difficult decision to begin winding down our Stadia streaming service. Wah, wah.
Down it goes.
So Harrison and Google said that they're going to be refunding all of the hardware purchases made through the Google Store, as well as game add-ons and sales made in the Stadia store. And most of those refunds are expected to be completed by mid-January of 2023. And Stadia users will be able to access their library through January 18th of 2023. And then after that, I guess, is when it's officially going to be shut down. So
at least they're offering that.
Yeah, I do think like it's nice that they're at least like not just being like, well, bye, and like not giving anyone any refunds. And like, because that's the thing with the streaming too, where it's like, and I know like some of the most controversial takes on it have been like, you pay for this game and then it's streaming only, and so once it's gone, and it's like, you paid for that, but you don't get a refund if it gets taken down from the store or anything. It's just gone. And so I know a lot of
Yeah.
people are apprehensive about game streaming for that reason, where they're like, well, I don't want to pay for something and then have it be taken down or removed, and then I don't get any money back and I don't have access to this thing that I purchased anymore, you know?
Yeah, there's a danger to cloud gaming because it kind of invites that type of mentality from companies,
Right.
you know, because they're like, it's our legal right to get rid of this. And, you know, we don't technically owe you anything because you signed that agreement form.
Right.
And it does get kind of tricky from there. And I think, especially, I think one of the worst things about this whole thing is there were games in development and developers working on them.
Right.
And they got the news much around the same time we all got the news that
Right.
Stadia was ending. And they were like, wait, what about the game we were making? Like, what about the hours that we spent making this like exclusive like Stadia game? Because they were paying, you know, money for these developers to do it. That's kind of rough. I think
Yeah.
that was kind of rough.
Yeah, I know. I was definitely seeing, like, the day that the news actually broke, I was definitely seeing that a lot, like, on Twitter and just online in general, like, a lot of developers just kind of being like, hey, like, we have been making a game for Stadia, and, like, this is literally the first that we're hearing about them shutting down.
Yeah,
Like, like,
that's rough.
it's kind of
That's rough.
shitty. And so I feel like, yeah, it's bad for a lot of people, especially on the development side. And like, that's why, you know, at least for fans, I guess I'm glad that they are offering the refunds and people can get their money back. Um,
Did you hear
so
about that? Did you hear about that guy who was it Red Dead Redemption 2? He had like 10,000 hours in it in Stadia,
oh God, no.
and so his character like was gonna be, you know, gotten rid of after it
Oh
closed.
God.
So he's begging. I don't. Okay, I don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure it's Rockstar. I'm pretty sure it's Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yep.
And he's been like tweeting at like Rockstar, being like, "Please save my character.
Yeah, like
Like I
please like
spent like
transfer it
10,000
over
hours in this.
somehow, like
Yeah,
to
like can you make this happen?"
oh God.
Yeah, can you?
Ah. That's the
I'm
other
just
thing
like,
is like imagine, yeah, putting all of that time and all of those hours into a game on that platform and then having it just be like boop.
yeah,
Like there is, because
bye.
you know time is money, right? So it's like you could refund me for all of this stuff, but it's like I can't get back all of the time and the hours that I put into playing Red Dead Redemption 2, right? Like those 10,000 hours are
Mhm.
invested, and like I can't get that back. And like if you delete all of it and there's no proof of it anymore, it's like wow, that really fucking sucks.
Yeah, it does. I imagine my Animal Crossing island going away, and I get sad.
Dude, oh my God. I recently checked. I've put, I think it was like 430 hours into Animal Crossing.
That's a commitment.
Which I know that there are people who have done way more, so I'm not trying to act like that's impressive or anything. But for me as
Mm-hmm.
a gamer, that is impressive because I don't invest that much time in like anything. I think I've said this on the podcast before. The game that I invested the most time in was Final Fantasy 12, and it was like
Mm-hmm.
250 hours.
Yeah,
You know, and like
yeah,
I think that's the longest that I've put into a game. Um, so yeah, Animal Crossing has since taken that trophy, but yeah.
yeah. I think I also have around that time because I have on two Switches. I have two islands,
Oh
two
yeah, that's
Switches.
right.
So I have 150 or like 160 on one, and then I just started the new one, so probably up to like 300. Yeah,
Yeah.
300 hours probably.
All right. So to finish off this topic, um, Harrison is quoted also saying that the underlying technology platform that powers Stadia has been proven at scale and has been proven, yeah, at scale and transcends gaming. Sorry, that's a
Hmm.
weird sentence. I'm trying to read
Yeah.
it and I'm like also processing
Does
in my head. I'm
does
like,
that make sense? Yeah.
and so he's saying that they see clear opportunities to apply the technology to other facets of Google, like YouTube, Google Play, their
Mm.
AR efforts, augmented reality, and to make it available for industry partners to, I guess, like use. Because even though the actual service kind of failed on the consumer end, I guess the actual technology of it is, you know, fairly impressive and could be useful on other platforms or to other people who are in need of a similar platform. I don't really know how that kind of stuff works and super in depth, so I'm not going to comment any further on it.
That sounds good. I mean, that sounds like a good plan to, you know, out of this hole I'm gonna keep calling it a hole, a Stadia hole.
Stadia hole. And so just to close it off, the article ends with him saying that they remain deeply committed to gaming and will continue to invest in new tools, technologies, and platforms that power the success of developers, industry partners, cloud consumers, and creators. Oh my God, like us.
Like us. Like you, me, the content we're creating.
Yeah, we're content creators.
Yeah, so we're
influencers.
We should get some deals. Yeah, we're influencers. Sponsor me. Anybody, just sponsor me.
Anybody. It could be anything. Well, actually, not anything.
Well, I mean, I'm okay with.
We will vet you.
Mm-hmm, we will.
All right. So my second piece of news is it's not like super exciting news, but I guess people have figured out how to jailbreak the PS5.
It only takes amount of time for them to do it. Yep.
Right. The second anyone gets their hands on any technology, the immediate urge is to jailbreak it and figure out how you can get the most out of it and do all of the things that you are legally not supposed to because of the warranty. So, and then after that, the next urge is to install PT on it. So, people have been jailbreaking their PS5s and installing PT on it because basically, for anyone who doesn't know what jailbreaking it is, essentially, I guess it's like working your way around the hardware of, in this case, a console, but like historically, people have jailbroken their iPhones and stuff like that. It's a way of kind of like breaking through the limits that the developers of that technology set on the hardware and being able to exploit, I guess, parts of it.
Yeah, I jailbroke my PS1 Classic.
Yeah. Wow. Cool. Yeah, I've only ever jailbroken iTouches.
Okay, yeah.
So,
I thieve.
Yeah. I thief me.
I pirate.
So yeah, people have been figuring out how to essentially jailbreak the current firmware of the console, and apparently it doesn't have a very high success rate. Like, I'm reading an IGN article right now and it says that it works about 30% of the time, but I did see a video of it working on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, people have been trying to do that and then reinstall PT because everyone is pissed and still wants to play PT. I still want to play PT.
Yeah, I think Konami is one of the most maybe hated game companies just because of that. Strictly just because of PT and what happened there. And then is it true, like I was reading into it a little bit, is it true that they can download, so they have like PT downloaded, like the code and everything, but they can't play it? They can't boot it up? Is that
I actually don't know, because this article... Oh, yeah. So it says, while Sony is... I'll just read this paragraph. It says, while Sony will likely keep an eye on this PS5 jailbreak, it's unlikely to make it into widespread use in its current form due to its limitations. Primarily, that's because this new exploit gives you read-write access, but no way to actually execute anything you install. So this person who had installed PT couldn't actually play it, like you said. So...
Okay, that makes sense. And I feel like they're going to try to, with the new PS5s that are coming out.
Definitely.
The updated hardware, they're going to be like trying to cut that out because PlayStation they're in a desperate situation right now.
Seriously. Oh, and this is interesting too, actually. So the last paragraph of the article clarifies. It says, while jailbreaking isn't necessarily illegal in and of itself, which I thought it was, doing so can get your PlayStation Network account banned. Voids any warranty and could result in you rendering your entire console unusable. So take that risk if you would like. Keep in mind how impossible it is to still get PS5s if you wish to jailbreak yours.
People just really like to be in read only. They like to read only.
Mm-hmm. Which is surprising because most people don't read.
That's true. 95% of people. Now, don't quote me on this. 95% of people
will not read,
including me.
Oh yeah,
cannot read.
Oh, wow! I thought you just chose not to.
Morally, yes, it's a moral thing. I morally don't want to read.
But that's it. I wanted to bring that up because I thought it was funny that people, like, of course, are jailbreaking their PS5s, but then trying to install PT.
Yeah, that's the first one there. That is good. That's good. More power to them. I feel like that's a good thing.
Right? I would do it
Yeah.
if I weren't A, inept, and B, afraid of breaking my PS5.
Yeah, that's the biggest loss of them all.
But that's it for my topics.
Yeah, my topic is more of a thought piece. So
Mhm.
it's less news. It's more just like I was reading an article in the New York Times and written by William Su.
Mhm.
Sorry if I'm mispronouncing their last name. But William Su is the founder of the mobile gaming developer Storm 8. So Storm 8 releases mainly mobile games, if not all mobile games.
Right.
And kind of some popular ones. So they're like $1 billion corporation. So they're making some money on that front. But this article specifically was interesting to me because he's a developer and he doesn't allow his children to play games, especially his games that he creates. And I thought it was an interesting like piece that he had. And I'm just going to read some excerpts from it and kind of like talk about my thoughts on it. Also, my experience with some mobile games and tie that in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But this is from an article by William Su. Governor Gavin Newsom of California has just signed legislation that would require social media companies to make sure new products won't be harmful to minors. The focus is on big tech and social media apps like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Flying under the radar are video games, even though kids in the United States spend much more time playing video games than engaging in social media, according to a recent Common Sense Media report. And then he goes on to talk about how the fact that this new legislation bill kind of disregards video games, even though video games can be highly addictive, and especially mobile games, which is what I think he's talking about in this specific article. But video games, there can be a lot of addiction starting early, like even like children, like starting early in their video game hobby, you know. But he goes on to say, here's an example of how addiction is cultivated in gaming. If you have played mobile games like Candy Crush Saga, which I have not, you are familiar with the concept of lives. You're giving 5 lives a day. Each time you lose a game, you lose a life. Run out of lives, and you can't play again until your supply is replenished. Why, you might ask, would someone get addicted if the developers prevent players from gaming as much as they like? And then he goes on to say, the over-the-top experiences and rewards built into video games can stimulate our brains to release dopamine. Dopamine, the powerful feel-good neurotransmitter, motivates us to seek more of these pleasurable activities. This is what can lead to addictive behavior. And this article is kind of well-timed to where I was reading it because I recently downloaded a mobile game, which I do not play mobile games. I completely either I bypassed it or I'm just not interested in them for the ones I did play. I think I did play Grand Theft Auto 3, but that was a full game, and that was just Grand Theft Auto 3, and it was on my phone. So I don't know if that really counts because it wasn't a mobile game. It was a console game to begin with. But I did download this game recently called Cats and Soup. And I downloaded it because A, the name, Cats and Soup, that's a really good name, and the artwork is very cute. It's like these little cute kitties, and they just brew the soup in their pot, and there's all these other cats around them, and they're like chopping up vegetables and like components to make in the soup, and that's the whole game. It's like you're trying to make soup, sell the soup to get money, use the money to buy more hats for your cats.
Oh my god!
Or like to buy more ingredients, like stations to like do ingredients. And the premise is cute. The graphics are really well done. I'm not saying the developer or the people that made the game, like they're not unskilled. Like it's a very cute game. I think they designed a good game in itself. But the only thing, the problem that I have with it is I downloaded it and the only thing you can do is like hit your thumb on it and just keep like hitting the money and like watching the money go to your account and then just spending more. And every second there's an ad going like, pay real dollars, like $25 to get 20,000 coins and you can like get this hat for your cat. Or you can, or like the hat makes the ingredients better and it makes your soup better. And like it's all these things flashing at you all of a sudden. And they'll give you alerts on your phone constantly like, oh, your cat's making soup, And
you're just like minding your business and your phone's just like, oh, your cat's making soup.
You better rush to him. He's making soup again. That's what the whole premise of this game is.
That's the whole point.
I'm not saying anything bad against this game. I want to keep saying that. Like, the game is fine. It's just the idea of, like, all that I'm doing is literally, like, pressing my thumb, like, over and over again on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not fulfilling, except it's straight dopamine. It's just, that's what the game is. Like, it just gives you constant dopamine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it's built to do. It's built to, like, flash it in your face. It's built to make you spend real money if you are susceptible to those kind of advertising and, like, that kind of word usage.
Right.
You could get into a spiral of spending a lot of money on this game. And the fact that the game is, like, there's no story, there's no plot, there's no, like, anything. It's just that. And I really rubbed me the wrong way. And I'm not saying all mobile games are like this, but I think a lot are, where what he talked about in the article was Candy Crush Saga. And I know Candy Crush was a huge thing, probably still is.
Right.
I never got into it.
Me neither.
Also, Bejeweled? I think Bejeweled.
Oh, yeah. I also never play. I also don't ever play mobile games. Like, the only mobile game that, like, again, wasn't a console game first. Like, I've played, like, the early Final Fantasies on mobile. But, like, the only game that was a mobile game that I played that I liked that was not originally, like, a console game or wasn't a port of any kind was Monument Valley.
Oh, I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Which I absolutely recommend to everyone. It's the most, like, it's a puzzle game, but it's so visually stunning, and there's, like, a very light story, and the soundtrack is, like, phenomenal. Like, I still listen to it to relax. It's very peaceful. And I highly recommend it. I think it's like $3 or something. It is so worth it. But that's it. Like, that's the only mobile game that, like, I've really ever played that I recommend to people and would like.
Yeah, and, like, games that are, like, mobile games that are actually, like, games. Like, you do something in it.
Right.
Besides, like, hitting your thumb to get money or to spend money. I think that's different. Like, I think the market is really, and it's also very interesting that most women play mobile games.
Right.
Like, because I think we talked about that briefly, or you talked about that previously in the podcast a while ago. And it is interesting, and there is a huge market out there for it. But also, I think, like, having children, like, I don't have children, but I could imagine that would be easier for them to get into, especially if you know, whatever your decision is for your child, like, that's your own prerogative, it's your own parenthood, you know, do what you got to do and do what you think is best. But I really thought the article was telling, because it also talks about the influence of video games in, like, socioeconomic, like, ways, also just, like, socially, how people kind of progress through games and progress through life, and kind of how it influences them.
Right.
And I really like those kind of conversations, because there is a bigger picture, and we absorb all of these video games, we absorb the storylines and everything they're kind of selling to us, and it's good to, like, step back and be like, how does this affect the world? And, like, I'm playing it. Like, games like the big ones coming out, like Bayonetta 3.
Right.
That game's coming out this month. It's huge. People are really excited. You know, I think it looks great. I think the game looks really fun. I think Bayo, that series, is really fun. I'm not knocking that. But also at the same time, the way that it kind of, you know, projects a woman and, like, their role in society, and, like, the objectification that happens in that game.
Right.
Which still feels like it's happening, even though they have the naive,
right, whatever it's called,
version.
Like, the mode where, like, she's more covered up.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the fact that has to exist is, I think, a tell of, you know, what you're saying.
Yeah, like, they felt like they were kind of pressured to change, but also they didn't want to change, so they just, like, added this. And it was kind of like a insult to the people that asked for, like, less objectification.
Right.
Because it says, like, naive, or it's something, like, kind of like an insult.
Right.
The version of it. I don't know what it's called at the top of my head. But games like that, right, where, like, it is fun. It's objectively fun. It's meant to be fun. It's not meant to be taken seriously. It's supposed to be just, like, a fun time. You know, that's okay. But if you step back and you're like, oh, this is how we're projecting women. You know, this is how the world kind of sees women already as, like, an object, especially a sexual object. It's like, what role is that playing in my life? What role is that playing in other girls' lives, especially young girls who are seeing this? So I think it's a huge conversation to have. And things like this, like thought pieces, I'm really interested in when I read an article like this, because it kind of reminds me, like, you know, video games are a great hobby, they're a great passion, but also there's another line there that, you do you want to cross? If you are crossing it, what does that mean?
Yeah.
So I just thought it was interesting, and it kind of tied into my experience with mobile games and basically games in general, like how I feel about, making sure you are doing right in the world and, not promoting things that hurt others.
Yes.
So, yeah. That's it, though. That's all the topics I had. Just that one.
And that's that. So we should move on to our tasty tidbits. Ooh.
My stomach is in a good mood.
We do have a couple. Actually, I have a third one that I'm going to add at the very last minute because I forgot that this also happened. And I knew. So when I was putting the topics together, I was like, I feel like I'm forgetting one big piece of news, which is that E3 is coming back.
Oh, yeah. I guess that is big.
I'm like, what? E who?
E-Trinity?
But yeah, I mean, E3 is coming back next year. And I mean, they're still, according to what I've read, like online, they're still in the early stages of trying to figure out how they're going to organize the event. But it does sound like it's going to be structured very differently. So it's going to be sort of restructured so that there's more of a space for gamers and consumers, because historically E3 has been very business heavy, and I've heard from people in actual games media reporting on it saying like it's a big space for media to get stories, it's a big space for actual developers and publishers to make business deals happen. And so in the most recent years of E3, they've tried to open it to the public, and I guess it was kind of like clunky. So
yeah, I've heard a lot of people like saying how they were annoyed, like the annoyance with like the fact that how it was run, and I guess like fans interrupting the process of like the media people, and it being like a jungle,
right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. So I think that it sounds like they're moving forward with intention to try to mitigate that and create either physical space where it's set up in a way that fans can mill about and do their thing, but also have private spaces maybe for like the business and the media side of things to happen and occur, because that did seem like that was a big point of contention in the most recent E3s before the pandemic, obviously. So that's exciting, and it's a shame that we can't go.
E3 is one of those things that I have always gotten excited about as a kid, like seeing the magazines go like E3 is happening, all the news, all the announcements. In recent years, I feel like my attitude towards it's changed a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I think partly it's because we've been having so many online showcases, just where they do the events online. You can watch it from your home. Mm-hmm. You're a part of the action, and you're kind of viewing it just as everyone else is viewing it. I know they probably get pre-release information and that kind of stuff. But a lot of it, like, you're kind of viewing at the same time, and it's, like, exciting in that way. And I think E3 was always a closed door. Mm-hmm. For, like, fans specifically, and who aren't directly involved in game media, who want to be involved in game media, but it's kind of difficult to bridge that gap and, like, break through and, like, actually be involved in it if you don't have certain qualifications already. So I think for me, it's, like, I'm excited that it's back. I am, because I can see how that's a big thing for media, all the game media, journalism, like, journalists to get out, be all together again. I bet it's fun. The whole experience for them is really fun. And also it's good that it's going to be kind of in one environment. So it's kind of less chaotic in a way, because it's kind of all condensed into one event again, which is nice. But there's also a part of me that's like, it's out of my reach. Like it's not something I'm interested in, because it's not realistic for me to go. Right. And it is cool how they're doing the gamer event, I guess, which is kind of cool. But on that spectrum, it's like, well, they have to really put in effort there, too, to make it worthwhile to spend as much money as they want you to spend to go there. And a lot of the people, the press, are probably going there for free and or just have to pay for their travel. I'm not sure how it works.
Yeah, I guess it would depend. Like, I'm sure, like, I guarantee you, like, huge companies, like, I'm sure, like, IGN and, like, GameSpot, like, they probably pay, because they're owned by, like, billion-dollar media companies. I'm sure they pay their, I'm sure that they have, like, certain staff who they pay to go and report on the conference. So
so I am excited, but also not, because I like the online events. I like what's been happening with that. I like And I hope they kind of continue that. And I feel like some developers or some companies will probably continue that and not
I hope
invest so much into E3. Yeah, because they're like, you know what, this works. This has been working.
Right.
We're just going to keep it this way because then we don't have to pay for the travel expense, all this stuff. Like,
right.
We'll just keep doing it online, which I think some people will. But, you know, or it's just going to go back to normal, how it was.
Right.
So either way, I see why it's created a buzz again and people are excited for it. So I don't want to rain on that parade. But yeah.
Yeah, I think like I don't have any interest in going as a fan. I think if I were to go as media, it would be different. That would be a really cool experience, but I do not work for a giant media corporation. The website I write for will definitely not pay to send me. And I don't want to pay out of pocket because obviously I would have to travel, not far, but like I'd still have to travel and pay for lodging and food, you know, the whole thing. So it wouldn't necessarily be worth it, right? So but you know, if like I worked for a bigger media company that would pay to have me go, I would definitely do it.
Yeah.
And be really tired afterwards.
Oh yeah, you'd be jet lagged. And like I never really felt really happy about the us versus them mentality of the broadcast media, like journalists that are there for the games and like the fans. There's always like a us versus them mentality. I feel like whenever I listen to like game journalism, them talking about the fans being there, they're always like, ugh, you know. And it's like it's never a good feeling to feel like that. Like you're the person that's kind of contributing that feeling for them. So
yeah, and I mean like I can sympathize with like having like you're there because you're working and like these people are here because of leisure and like and like we know how like you know fans can be like obsessed
Trolls.
and be just terrible, right? So it's like I can understand them, you know, quote unquote ruining the experience, you know, but more so getting like in the way of you doing your job. Like I would be frustrated too because it's like, hey, I'm here to work and like I'm getting paid to do this. Like this is my job and like yeah, I'm a gamer, but like I'm here for work. Like I'm not enjoying this as a fan necessarily. You know, that's always the kind of vibe that I got. And so I can understand the tension from that perspective, but like there's no need to create that otherness, right? Like I think it's just a matter of like how you voice your feelings about it and, you know, not being rude about it and I guess trying to understand both sides because like I can understand both sides. Like I'd be excited if I was there as a fan too, but like I'd be conscientious of making sure that I'm not interrupting people's work, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that's why this year it's cool how they're doing like a separate thing because it's either like not invite the fans at all,
right,
or do it in a way that's like actually giving them something to be there for.
Right, give them the space, like give the everybody the space that they need for the reason that they're there, which I think is what they're doing. So
which is good.
I think that's going to be really good.
Yeah.
So that's that. Obviously, we will talk about E3 next year on the podcast when it happens. So look forward to that.
We'll both be there.
I mean, maybe. Who knows? A lot can happen in, 9 months or whatever it is.
A baby.
Oh my God, yeah. Wait, Mary, we're not supposed to break that news yet.
I know. I have to wait another year for that. I have to wait another 18 years when they're out of that.
Anyway, the last tasty tidbit that I wanted to touch upon was we have not talked about the Last of Us HBO teaser yet, have we?
No, we have not. And whoa, was that a thing?
Awooga!
Awooga, it looks great. Looks fantastic.
Yeah, I'm super excited. And it was definitely just that. Like, it was just a teaser. Like, we don't know anything about the story. We don't know anything about... Well, I mean, little things about the story, like, but we don't know, like, that much. It was really just a teaser, but, like, I'm super excited for what I saw. Like, I think it's going to be really, really good. And, like, I think a lot of people, too, felt reassured because I know early on there was some people being like, oh, I don't know how I feel about, like, Pedro Pascal playing Joel. But I think in seeing the teaser and seeing, like, his character a little more and hearing him talk a little bit, I think maybe people are feeling more assured in that casting choice, which, like, there shouldn't have been a problem in the first place because fucking it's HBO. Like, of course they're going to cast the right person for this role, but,
Yeah.
So I'm super excited. Like, I like what I've seen so far with like the diversity of the environments, because that was a big thing, you know, in the first, well, in both games, but you know, in the first games where it's the arcs of the story are divided by season, and each
Mm-hmm.
season you have these different landscapes and these different places in the country. And so, you know, I was excited to see that diversity also in the teaser. And then also that fucking clicker.
Yeah, that was the most standout part for me,
Yeah,
was seeing the
same.
clicker. I was like, they done that right. Like, that was one thing, because I watched The Walking Dead
Mm-hmm.
first couple seasons. Like, I've seen like zombies in TV, and
Right.
they're not very, I don't know. It's just, they're not like wow to me, but the
Right.
clicker was wow to me. I
I
think
and
it looks great.
I think too, because I was thinking about this, like I think the problem, or not necessarily the problem, but with those like zombie shows, I feel like you always lean really heavily into like the human aspect of zombies, where it's like they're still very clearly like derivatives of humans, and like whatever
Mm-hmm.
has changed them. But like I feel like with the clickers, it's like the change is so grotesque, and like, you know, because obviously in Last of Us you have like the early stages of infected people, like the runners, where it's like they're still very clearly human
Yeah.
and very clearly like people. But then you have, obviously, as you progress, you have like the clickers and the bloaters, where it's
Mm-hmm.
just like they're so taken over by this like fungal infection, or you know, whatever it is. And like I think that that's what makes it so grotesque, is just the actual like overgrowth and the like complete erasure of like any human characteristics beyond like having arms and legs.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
I think I do feel, and the sound that it makes too, right? It's not just like a zombie being like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's that
Yeah.
clicking sound, and it's like, ugh, ooh, it's
Yeah.
creepy.
It's unique. It's definitely, I
And
think the
like
show's
having
going to
to
be
be
really special.
quiet, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
so that they can't detect you. You know, it's just like the whole thing, you know, I think it makes them a very compelling I was gonna say enemy, but yeah, I mean, I guess creature.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's going to be fantastic. I don't have any worries about it,
No,
especially after seeing that teaser trailer. It kind of like confirmed that it was going to be good for me. I'm like, all right.
we should watch it together
No, I was
every
actually
week.
going to ask like a viewing party for the first episode,
Oh
because
yeah,
like we have mutual friends who really enjoy the game, and they've previously said they want to do a viewing party, at least for the first one.
yeah, totally.
But yeah, we should do that, and then we could just watch it every week. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was thinking like a viewing party.
Oh, I'm so excited. It's gonna be
Have
so
like
good.
snacks,
Snackies. Ah,
bloody snacks. Yeah.
yeah, bloody snacks. It's like we do like
Mm.
Halloween, like where you make like the spaghetti and meatballs, and it's supposed to be like brains and eyes.
Yeah, and I blindfold everyone. I'm like, guess what it
Yeah, stick your
is
hand in. What
with your
is it?
fingers. It's like the show's starting. Shh.
Shh,
No, just guess what it is.
Mary, I can't see the show.
Feel my meatballs.
Feel my balls. Anyway.
Anyway, that's a viewing party.
that now that is something to view.
Mm.
But that was it.
Yeah.
Unless you had anything to add.
No, that was the only. I mean, I feel like I'm full off of those tasty tidbits. I think
Yeah, I'm a little
that was a good
bloated.
meal.
Speaking of
That was
bloaters.
a good meal. Yeah.
All right, well, let's dive into what we've been playing then. Mary, what have you been playing this week?
I've actually been playing X-Files from 1998.
Oh shit!
So the release on the PlayStation 1. Because I played X-Files, and X-Files the game. If anyone is familiar with X-Files the show, it's...
You're like, I'm not watching the show.
I'm not watching the show, I'm playing the game that is the show. Don't confuse it. And, it was really big in the 90s. It's about, like, UFO type of thing. It's really hard to like try to explain what X-Files is. Either you know it or you
As I
don't.
say, I feel like either you know what X-Files is and you just know it intrinsically, or you're like, I have no idea.
Yeah. But essentially the game is an FMV, which I love FMVs because they're so cheesy and corny and the dialogue is hilarious. And just the like in itself playing through an FMV, it's so interesting because the experience is not like other games. It's a unique girl. It's not like other games. And this game, I remember playing it as a kid on the PC. So I played the PC version initially. Got it from the Scholastic Book Fair.
Oh hell yeah!
Loved it. I was like, this game's great. It's really fun. Never beat it. Never got far into it because it was so hard. I was like, because it's a click and point adventure.
Mm-hmm.
And click and point adventures, it's like combine one item with another item, know what
Right.
to do, dialogue choices, that kind of thing. And I was just too hard for my teenage brain. So I was like, I set that down. And I recently went to a game shop in Alameda called Nostalgia Alley, who's great. They're fantastic. And then I saw it there and I was like, I'm gonna buy this. And I am playing it for the first time on the PlayStation. And it's really fun. Like, the game is great. It's like, it's viewed as like the best X-Files game, so take with that what you will. But it's really fun. You play as a detective and you're trying to find the main characters who are in the show. Agent Skull. I'm forgetting their names. Wow, okay. I'm a
Wow,
huge
fake
X-Files
fan.
fan. I know, wow. You're trying to find the characters that are in the show. You don't actually get to play as them, but they do appear in the game, I
Like a
think.
cameo.
As a cameo, yeah. And basically you're trying to find them and you have to like go to like places. You play the detectives, so you're like investigating where they went missing and like trying to find them. And it's really cool. I think the environments very much like the show. If you're a fan of the show, I think you would be a fan of the game. They
Mm-hmm.
do have one of the detectives, I think Detective Skinner. He is your partner in it, so
He's your
you get to
lover.
he's your he's your sex interest. um,
in this X-Files game from the 90s, your sex
Yeah,
interest.
yeah. Oh, and it's so funny because it's so 90s. The laptops are
Oh,
huge.
hell yeah.
Like, the cell phone is a Nokia. You're on a Nokia brick phone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god, it's
Wow,
so
what a
great.
time. What a time
It's a
capsule.
time machine. Yeah, it is a time capsule. There's landlines everywhere. You
Oh
have to call
god.
through landlines. I highly recommend this game, especially people who are FMV fans.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to this one, check it out because it's great, and I'm loving it. I was actually gonna play some more tonight.
Hell yeah.
I'm really into this X-Files game. Yeah, that's all I've been playing this week, though. That's new.
Nice. Yeah, I've been playing besides, my usual jaunt around Animal Crossing every once in a while. I've been playing this game that it's not new at all. I've been kind of going back and playing a lot of indie games on my Switch. And this is a game called Night in the Woods, and it came out actually in 2017. So it's not fairly old, but I guess in the grand scheme of how much gaming progresses, it's fairly old.
It's enough time where PlayStation's going to make a remaster of it.
Exactly. And it's been so fun. So I downloaded 2 games. One, I downloaded Firewatch because I wanted to replay it. And I also downloaded this because it looked really good. And I hadn't played it before. So I booted this one up and I've been just like so engrossed in it. So he plays a cat, first of all, a cat character. And so you're in this town and everyone's like a different animal. And they're sort of like, it's like a very like anthropomorphic kind of thing where it's like these animals, but they're basically humans, right? And it's very like slice of life, walking simulator. You're just like in this town, you just moved back home, like you dropped out of college. And so you're like seeing all these people that you used to be friends with and go to school with. And like there is a sort of like somber aspect to it where it's like you dropped out of school and you're just living with your parents and like all your friends now have jobs and like can't hang out. It's like very like this is what being an adult is like.
Oh wow, okay.
But it's not in a way where you're like, oh my god, like way to remind me what my life is like in real life. It's it's just it's kind of like just a somber take on that, and like it's just very fun and like very tongue in cheek. And I'm maybe like 2 hours into it. I'm on the second part of, I'm assuming 4 because I think it's going by season. So I haven't hit any like big plot reveal or anything like that, but I don't necessarily know if there is going to be some sort of like big conflict and big resolution. Like it's not that kind of game. Because again, like I said, it's very slice of life, and so, but it's very stylish, like very stylish. I love the art for it. It's very cartoonish, but very pretty. And you have these dream sequences, which are so cool. And yeah, I don't know. I'm having a lot of fun playing it. It's super whimsical. It's the perfect thing right now because I need something like a little bit lighthearted, but that also has some body to it. So that's what I've been playing, and I'll probably finish it this week. I'm assuming, again, it's an indie game. It's probably not that long. Probably like 6 hours, I would assume.
Yeah. No, I've seen the artwork for it, and I've seen like the game and like reviews for it possibly, and I'm always like, that's an interesting game. I always want to check it out. So that's cool that you're playing that.
You should. I feel like you would like it.
Yeah, I probably would. And I feel like it's a good fall game.
Oh, it is. I'm playing in
Like
the fall season
October.
right now, actually.
Yeah, fall in the fall.
Falling into fall.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. That's all I've been playing.
All right.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Are you? Is that a threat?
I'm gonna stick to it.
You will. But thank you. Yeah, I guess that's it for today. That's all we got.
Yeah, that's it, everybody. Thank you so much for listening, as always. Please leave us a review. Give us 5 stars. Like we always say, it helps us get ourselves out there. It helps us get to the top of the charts. If you Google us, we found out recently all of our sites are actually the top Google search. So if you search After School Special Club in Google, our YouTube comes up. I think our Instagram and Twitter come up. So the engagement is working, and we appreciate that.
We made so much content that they couldn't ignore us.
No.
That's what you do. You just make so much that like Google can't ignore us.
But we still can't change our YouTube URL yet.
Yes. Still to this day.
Maybe one day. But yeah, give us a listen. You can watch us on YouTube. I highly recommend it because we have a wonderful stream overlay that Mary and I are in. We're in a 90s Mac UI situation. So check out the YouTube channel. Again, leave us a comment. We love the engagement, and we do really appreciate it. Share with your friends. I don't know. You probably have friends who like gaming. Share it with them. Make them listen to it.
We talk a lot about games. So, we do like to talk about games that are, more so in the news. But we also talk about other stuff. Our lives are interesting somewhat,
Somewhat, kind of.
And we also talk about older games that aren't really in the news cycle anymore. So it's always a fun bag of things you'll get with us.
Yeah, it's a real grab, or what is it?
Grab bag?
Grab bag?
Real grab bag, yeah.
Where you grab it, you don't know what's in it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably what people feel like every time they click on an episode of the podcast. They're like, I really don't know what I'm going to get this week.
Exactly. So that's a good thing. It's exciting.
Yeah.
So thank you for watching us. And the people that have been watching every week, I can't tell you like how much that means to us.
Yeah,
like,
it really does mean a lot.
Yeah, thank you so much. You guys are loyal, and you guys are family, as in Fast and Furious style family. Welcome to the fam.
We should make Fast and Furious. We should make merch and have it be Fast and Furious inspired.
Oh yes, please.
Well, anyway, thank you guys. Check us out everywhere podcasts are available. Watch us on YouTube. Tell your friends. Leave a review. Give us 5 stars. You know the situation. We'll be back next week with another episode of the After School Special Club podcast.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.